Honestly, our future depends on this generation.
I think it really does. And isn't it strange that lots of the decisions that are made from people that are kind of old and have had their time, all that crusty lot in Parliament, But actually, I think you kids should make more decisions because I think it's your world and your future, and you've probably got better ideas for it.
Welcome to Lessons for Life. I'm Gabi.
And I'm Marnie.
And today we're interviewing Kenny Arnold from People for People.
Kenny,
Hello.
thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm very well. I'm very excited to be speaking to you both.
Can you tell us about the work you do for People for People? Is this something you started?
Yes, I started People for People 10 years ago. It's our 10th birthday next month, so we're thinking about doing some celebrating.
Happy birthday for it.
Thank you. Happy birthday for it. And I started 10 years ago after realising that there was a sudden, because I just told you this actually off camera, that I was a hairdresser. So when you're a hairdresser, you speak to lots of different people all the time. It's a very good job for finding out what's good to watch on telly, what the new Christmas toy is going to be. We always know what that's going to be by about July. Yeah. But this particular year, 10 years ago, lots of people were telling me they were having a tough time. So I thought, well, maybe there's something we should do about that as a community. I think I was in the bath and I thought, People for People, that's a good name. And when you get the name for something, sometimes it just rolls into the idea. So that's what People for People is. It's about people in our community helping other people.
Interesting story.
Thank you.
What is your end goal for People for People?
Well, I'm not sure I'll ever get to the end goal, because the end goal for me would be that the whole world is peaceful and nice and caring and giving to each other. I'm not sure that's going to happen in my lifetime. Hopefully it'll happen in yours. But my end goal, I suppose, realistically, is for Stevenage and the community and towns in our country to really feel like they're involved in being in the community rather than kind of living in the town, like being in a community. That's very, very important.
Everyone can do their part to make the world a better place.
They can, and often lots and lots of people do. And there are many, many people in it. We can be very proud in Stevenage, because I don't know if there's many, many towns that are as good as we are at what we do. They really are a wonderful town. So we should be proud.
How does People for People help other people?
Well, many ways, many, many different ways. For example, what we try to do at People for People is we try to recycle everything, so nothing gets thrown away. So you'd be surprised, somebody, maybe a support worker, will call me and say, hey, I really need a bike for a kid that doesn't have one. He's traveling long distances. And I put something on our page and say, who's got a bike? And then we find about 300 bikes in 300 different sheds. Everybody's got a bike in a shed. That's one way. The other way is I have 500 people that are patrons. That means they kind of look after our group, and they give me a little bit of money every week so I can give people food vouchers that are struggling. So we don't want to see anybody struggling in our town. And also things like furniture, like if you get rid of a sofa, we don't want it going to the tip, because there is somebody somewhere in Stevenage that needs the sofa. So we try and knit all those things together and make sure nothing gets wasted and nobody gets left behind and everybody gets helped.
No waste.
No waste.
And there's a lot of bikes.
There's a lot of, I can't believe how many bikes there is. In fact, last week I went to collect one, and the man said, oh, I've got another one here. So I had 2 bikes. The only trouble is I haven't got any room in my shed because I've got bikes, but they're all going out to people that need them. You'd be surprised how many people could really use things like a bike and don't have one. And there are people with them in the shed that don't use them. So it's about making sure people maximise the things they've got to help more people.
Sounds important.
It is. It's very important.
We're interviewing you as part of the Lessons for Life campaign. Why do you think the Lessons for Life campaign is important?
Well, I think Lessons for Life is incredibly important. In fact, when I read it a few weeks ago, it's one of the most important things I've ever read, because I think it's very interesting when you see things in print. It really makes you understand them better. And it's better than, these are all prints of actual studies and statistics, which are important because lots of people can have an opinion, but this is more like a studied fact of things. And I think it shows you as well just how much help is needed out there and how many people may be struggling, maybe having a bad time. We don't want them to. So I think Lessons for Life is a fantastic thing.
I agree. What problems in society do you think education can fix?
All of them. I think all of the problems can be fixed by pupils having a better education, about the problems we face and the difficulties that people face. I mean, experience is very important, but if you don't have to have experience of something to go on and learn about it, and that's what education can do. I think education is extremely, extremely vital to everybody.
It really is.
It really is.
We're now at the back to school segment. What was your experience with PSHE or life skills lessons when you were in primary school?
Well, I'm quite old. I'm 22. I'm not really. I'm quite an old man. I'm 58. So when I was young, there wasn't very much of that at all. Just the lessons that we had learning by ourselves, really, which I think means I'm very hopeful about your generation and young people, because I think that you have so much more information, and I think you're kinder and nicer than we were, and I think that you probably can go and make a much better job of it than we've done. But I didn't really have any of that. But a bit like education, I had to learn. Having done People for 10 years has been a real learning experience. I'm probably every year learn something, 10 things new every single year. So
yeah, you don't have to worry. There's a bunch of PSHE now.
I know there's a whole bunch of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you glad about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like learning about PSHE. It's very
That's great.
interactive with.
I love PSH.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you
Lecture.
would. I would love to have done it. I wish I was your age sometimes, and I just don't want all the schoolwork that goes with it. But I really wish I could have some of the opportunities you've had, because you're all going to be better people than the grown-ups. Definitely.
We're now going to test your knowledge. This hat contains some life skill questions for you to answer. Are you ready?
I think so.
Thank you.
The topic is our world. The first question is, why is being kind so important?
Wow, being kind is everything, isn't it? I mean, you know yourselves, if someone's kind to you, how good it feels. I think it's also very good to be kind as well. I think that feels just as good. And of course, if we have kindness in the world, we have less anger and less pain and less trouble. So kindness is very, very important for everybody to have in the world. Very important.
You must treat others how you want to be treated.
Exactly that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. You know, nobody wants to be treated unfairly or unkindly. So why would you do that to anybody else? You wouldn't. Be kind.
Yes. We strive to be kind.
Yes, exactly.
The second question is, can little things like smiling or saying thank you really help someone?
I think so. If you asked me that question and I was going like this, you wouldn't have asked that question so beautifully. And I think smiling is very, very important. In the same way, it's our visual representation of how we're feeling, isn't it, on the inside? And so I think people smiling is a really wonderful thing. Have you tried smiling at people in the street?
Yeah.
They quite often smile back at you, and it's quite nice. And I think there you've created a nice little bit of something happy in the world just there. So it's very important, yes. And I'd also like to say about manners, because manners is very, very, very important, because it's very, very nice to be a well-mannered person. And how lovely does it feel when somebody is nice manners to you? If you've done something that the people appreciate, it's nice to know about it, nice to see that you've given them some pleasure and some happiness. This, little by little, is how we make the world a better place.
And the last question is, how can kids help people in their community?
Well, I think that children can do lots and lots of different things. Obviously, it involves sometimes being with adults and stuff like that. But you can do lots of things. You know what I find kids are really great for? Enthusiasm, bags of enthusiasm, and lots of energy, you know. And I think that you children have some really great ideas about it. In fact, somebody I know who lives by the sea has just started picking up rubbish. She had one friend picking up rubbish one week, and then the following week she had two, and now there's about 12 of them all picking up plastics from the sea. And I think this is because it's going to be your future and children's future, that things like the environment and things like that are very, very important. So that was so great that they were doing it. They were doing it for themselves and for all the animals that, you know, live on the beach. I think children are... there's a terrible phrase that says children are our future, and there's that song. I don't know, you won't know that song, it's very old, but it's a beautiful phrase, because you are the future and you are the people that are going to make a difference in the world. And if we can start with you, if we can start with young people, young children, doing the right things and having the right messages and looking after people and showing kindness, this world is going to be a great place to be in 56 years' time.
Honestly, our future depends on this generation.
I think it really does. And I think it does. And isn't it strange that lots of the decisions that are made from people that are kind of old and have had their time, all that crusty lot in Parliament, But actually, I think you kids should make more decisions, because I think it's your world and your future, and you've probably got better ideas for it. So, yeah, children, super important.
Kenny, can you tell me what has been your biggest life lesson to date?
Well, I think life lessons come a lot and very fast, and many. It'd be hard for me to name one. I can tell you a lot of things that have happened to me personally that made me start things like People for People. My very first born son, George, he's now 34, but he was born with Down syndrome. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So he was born with Down syndrome. So very quickly I had to learn about what support was there for people with Down syndrome and stuff like that, and there wasn't enough. So I learned that society doesn't always take care of everything, and that sometimes you have to move it yourself. So I guess that was an idea, People for People. I've also been poor, and I come from divorced parents. So I've had all those things happen to me, which I also know sometimes you need a bit of help for certain things. And so I think those are all my life lessons. But I think my biggest life lesson was George, firstly, and he still teaches me stuff every day. But I think very, very importantly, the biggest lesson I've learned in life is that you shouldn't ever stop learning and finding out and educating and getting involved with things, because that, I think, is what the true meaning of life is, which is that the true meaning of life, I think, is about caring for people, and that's leaving your mark on the planet as a good thing. It's not how much money you earn, not how fast your car is. It's actually just about being kind and being caring. I think I think all of my life has led me to that belief, which is that it's about giving off the right lessons in life in terms of learning, being kind, being nice to people.
If you could change one thing about education, what would it be?
That's easy. I think education is bound up too much in the idea of parrot learning, like in learning your lines and doing that. And I would like to see really great educators teaching children the thirst for knowledge, for learning. Like what I just said then about, learning is the most important thing. The idea that we have to keep learning, and that would be what I would like to do, rather than saying, well, all of these things, just copy this and think about this. And I think it's the idea that you want to learn. I remember I did mathematics about 5 years ago. I went to do a college course in mathematics, which I was rubbish at, by the way. And I suddenly got it. And it was so interesting that I finally sort of solved this language I could never do. And I think that's a feeling that lots of people should have and should try to get, because I think the knowledge for learning is more important sometimes than the learning itself. It puts you in a good headspace.
If you could teach children one thing before they leave primary school, what would it be?
Kindness, manners. We've spoke about all this, haven't we? But I think also compassion. There's a word that we don't often use. Make sure that we have compassion for people. Find that person in your class that doesn't look like they have many friends or things like that. And also, when starting a big school, which you do after primary school, is to go in there and, as I say, make friends, have good manners, work hard. And if you do those things, you'll find out that things will go pretty well for you, I think.
Before we finish our interview, is there anything you would like to say to our viewers today?
I would like to say that I've had a rollicking good time with these two young ladies. So it's been a great podcast. Thank you very much for inviting me. That my page, People for People in Stevenage, has 15,000 people, but it could do with more. Some of the people that we have on our page are 500 of which are patrons. And this is based on an idea that if I once saw this interview about a man who wanted to be a millionaire, and someone said to him, the best way to be a millionaire is to get 1 million people to give you £1 each. That's very true. That's the way to do it. See, if you gave £1 to someone, what we do at People for People, I'm not a millionaire, is we ask people to give a few pounds every month as patrons to put together to help with the food vouchers and all the things that we do to help people. So I would encourage everybody to go on People for People and be a patron and be part of fixing the community as opposed to just watching it. Very important.
Yeah, I recommend that too.
Thank you so much. And I think also I would love to see what we're doing in Stevenage with People for People to be replicated right around the country, because every town needs a People for People and every town needs people that will help in their community. Often I find it's very fragmented and there's not many people able to pull everything together. I'm sure lots of people want to, and People for People was a way of pulling Stevenage in the right direction. So I'd like to see more of them in every town. Very easy to set up, and if anybody wants to set it up, they can contact me, and I will tell them how to do it, because it's very simple and very good and very gratifying.
Thank you so much for everything you do for our town.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Lots of people help me, so I will say that. But here's a good lesson for life. Actually, it makes me very happy. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's that sometimes when you do good things, sometimes people say, why do you do People for People? Sometimes I think I do it for me, because it makes me feel happier. And that's also important too. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It's been lovely meeting and talking to you.
I have had the best time meeting you two. You're the best podcasters in the world, I think.
To find out more, visit lessonsforlife.org.